The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical advice.
Sweaty and pissed. Menopause makes me sweaty and pissed.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everyone. This is Sweaty and Pissed, Menopause and More. I'm Leanne Morgan.
I'm Karen Nickell. I'm a nurse practitioner, and you're a...
I'm a nut. I will be glad when some way the world
somehow
will be okay, you know. A lot going on. But anyway, we're going to talk about fun stuff. You've got on a pretty lipstick. Because usually you've got on your red Broadway star, opera singer, Baby Newirth red. But today you're going with more of an earth tone. I
feel earthy today.
I wanted to ask you, and I'll tell people that Karen lives at where I want to live. She lives in a condo up on top of a ridge in Knoxville, Tennessee, overlooking the river, and she can see the mountains and the downtown Knoxville lights. And I have coveted her view in her condo, and I want to live up there so badly. And she has been so gracious. Every time one comes up for sale, she tells me, and then I tell her I don't have the money. So I want to live up there. But anyway, is your pool open? They've got a pool that looks out over the city lights and river, and it's stunning. Is your pool open?
Interesting your timing. I just got an email yesterday from our office manager saying that the pool is open with COVID restrictions. They've got the lounge chairs 6 feet apart, and they ask people people move them around all the time. So, and not to, to keep distance and wear a mask when you're not in the pool. Don't wear a mask when you're in the pool. I guess we have to tell people that so they don't drown. I don't know.
Lord, a soggy mask in the pool.
Well, anyway, yeah. So it specified that we're not supposed to wear the mask in the pool.
Okay. Well, I wanted to tell you that my little neighborhood pool is open, and it feels like now Chuck and I are the oldest people in this neighborhood, and young people, it's young professionals with little bitty children, and everybody's legs are pretty, and
Yep.
And everybody's still doing CrossFit,
Mm-hmm.
and they all have little bitty precious children and dogs and fun. And I saw one of the little mamas. Well, let me go back to say, they've asked us several times, are y'all moving? Do y'all want to downsize? Y'all are looking like you're in the retirement age. And I think, do Chuck and I look like we are in our 70s?
Stop using that walker.
But anyway,
around the
I'm like, no,
neighborhood.
not yet. Yeah, but evidently my neighborhood's a hot place to live, and because of that, we've got big lots, and there's a lot of people want their friends in here, and they're very social, and they all go and do. And when I was their age, I was going to all the Christmas crawls and all that. And but I asked one of those little mamas, the woman who's in charge of the pool, which I'm sure is a hard job, but I said, hey girl, is the pool going to open during this COVID? And I said, I'm praying for y'all, because I know y'all got a bunch of little kids, and what are y'all going to do? Y'all going to be running down the road with your bra outside of your clothes. Nuts. If your little baby, I'd be getting a baby pool. Or a blow-up pool or a blow-up something. And she said, we are hoping, and we're going to wait for the Knox County Health Department to let us know. But anyway, they did send out a thing saying that you wipe everything down, bring your Clorox wipes. You can't use our refrigerator and you bring your own cooler, and everybody stays 6 feet apart. And so anyway, I'm tickled to know. I mean, I'd be like, up there with my old lady crepey legs. They go, who's Meemaw? But I want to go up there, and I'm not certainly going to, spew droplets on anybody, but I think they changed that into a saltwater pool. Does chlorine, would that help kill something?
Well, the chlorine, and salt, the salt is antimicrobial, but chlorine would be probably better. It's not better for your allergies or skin, but it's
Or your hair color.
or your hair
Your blonde
color.
hair color. Yeah. If you want green
Yeah,
hair.
I swim laps in our pool here, and so I'm in the pool. I swim a mile, so it's about 35 minutes. And I
Lord,
come into
Karen.
my hairstylist, and she's not happy with me.
Why don't you wear an Esther Williams cap?
I do.
And it still is damaging?
I wet my hair and I put conditioner on it, like everybody says, so it won't suck up
Yeah.
the water. And I put a swim cap on. But, it's still, I mean, when you're in the water, 35, 40 minutes, I don't know. It's still not good.
Is that chlorine where y'all are?
Yeah, we have chlorine.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good for you,
and
honey.
listen, if you were at our pool, we have a lot of college and graduate age kids who live here because we're near UT. So talk about, we got 20-year-old legs out there. And I'm swimming laps and I'm looking at them sunbathe and I'm thinking, now when they're 60, they're going to have to be in here swimming laps, thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Yeah, you can sit out there and eat whatever you want to.
But do you tell them, don't get that sun damage, girl. Don't get that age spot on your chest and your calves.
Yeah, they're already unhappy with me being there swimming. So I don't think I better tell them that.
All right, so is the music thumping and doing?
They're pretty respectful about the music thing.
When I was at the University of Tennessee, it was the 80s, and we laid on top of the roof at Humes and all got, horrible carcinoma. I don't even know, what is it called? Basal squamous, all of us,
cell.
Yeah. And, but we had on bikinis and the boys on the reese on the other side of the courtyard would have binoculars and would be watching us. And, we shook it. We
gave them something to look at.
Yeah, we didn't know it was called twerking, but we did that, and we would be listening to the Eurythmics and Madonna and George Michael and all that. Lord, those were good times. But anyway, that's when I could wear a bikini. Now I get a big old dress. Okay. So we are going to talk about hormone replacement therapy and how long you can take it. You can do it. A lot of people have been asking you, Karen.
Yes, they have. A lot of Facebook questions. How long can I take HRT? And I wish I was going to give you a simple, uncomplicated answer, but it's not that simple. Let me start first by saying that many providers now will tell women you can take hormones for 5 years and then you have to get off. And I want to tell people where that came from. In the 1990s, they did a big, and we've talked about this on other podcasts, but in the 1990s, they did a big study called the Women's Health Initiative. And it had about 16,000 women in one arm of the study and about 10,000 in the other arm of the study. And the 16,000 people were on what we call Prim-Pro, which is Premarin and Progestin. So, and I talked about this very thing in the last episode. So if you haven't heard the last episode with my listener questions, you might want to back up one and listen to that first. But Premarin is a conjugated estrogen. So it has 30 plus types of estrogen in it. And only 17% of that is estradiol, which is what's found in our body. The rest of it all the other estrogens are horse estrogen types because it's coming from pregnant horses. The urine of pregnant horses. That's why it's called Premarin. So.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So pregnant mare urine, Premarin. And the conjugated estrogens are not the same thing as taking hormones like what is in your body, because your body has to metabolize those to figure out how to use them and get them on the estrogen receptor. So you end up with all these little estrogen metabolite bits, so not floating around in your body. So not only are you having 30 types of estrogen, then you've got 30 types of estrogen with little estrogen bits floating around your body. I wish you could see Leanne's face right now. And so it's a lot of estrogen. And then the progestin that's in Primpro is a synthetic progesterone. So it doesn't do for us what progesterone does for us. And it has some increased risks that progesterone doesn't have. For instance, we have higher clot risk with progestin. And as I mentioned in last week's episode, there was a recent Stanford School of Medicine study that showed that Premarin actually causes some cognitive decline, and when you add progesterone to it, it makes it even worse. So it doesn't have the benefits that we see with progesterone. Okay, so that was the one arm of the study, Primpro. The other arm of the study was Premarin. So just the conjugated estrogen without the progestin. So what they were looking for is, rates of breast cancer, cardiovascular disease, death, osteoporosis, hip fractures, gallbladder disease. There were a bunch of different disease processes they were looking at throughout this study. Unfortunately, the age range of the people in the study was 50 to 79, with the average age being 63. And the average age of menopause, when we go into menopause, is 51. So they were older. We were already starting with older women, and they weren't on hormones before the study. Okay, so, and they most of them were not symptomatic in terms of hot flashes, night sweats, that kind of thing. So they stopped the first arm that had the Primpro that contained the progestin. They stopped that early, I think 3 years early, at about 5 years. It was a little over 5 years, because they were seeing more episodes of cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes. Now, the problem with that is, first of all, we started at an older age group. So if you were 75 in the study, 75 years old, we're talking, these people are 80 now. So an 80-year-old is just generally higher risk for heart attack and stroke than a 51-year-old, for instance. And again, progestin, one of its risk factors is clot formation, which can cause heart attack or stroke. So they stopped the study early, that arm of the study, at 5 years, and recommended that women not take hormones after being on them for 5 years, because they started seeing an increase in heart attack and stroke. And again, I'm explaining that one of the main reasons that was happening is we had a much older study population, and we had progestin in there that increases clot risk. So, and then the estrogen arm, the Premarin arm, went on another 2 years, and it was stopped a year early, basically for the same reason. And the problem was, at that time, because of that study, which really had some major problems in the way it was set up, because of that study, women were everywhere were taken off their hormones. Their provider said, you just need to get off your hormones.
Yeah.
Just get off of them. So all these women were miserable wrecks. And And it was a few years, because this all came out, the first one ended in 2002. So it took a few years before people finally said, you know what, I'm not dealing with this anymore. Give me some hormones. and a few years later, also, we realized some of the weaknesses of the study. And so people didn't place as much significance on it in terms of their practice and how they prescribed hormones. So, but this 5-year thing has stuck like white on rice. I mean, it will not go away. So, because it's easier for me to say, Leanne, if you ask me, how long can I stay on these hormones? I could say 5 years, and then we're going to take you off of them. End of conversation, right? It's a good conversation ender. So what I tell people is this. We always want to look at the risk-benefit ratio. If you are gaining significant quality of life benefits from being on hormones, and our risk levels are staying low, like you haven't had a heart attack, you haven't had breast cancer, you haven't had, or you don't have 4 sisters who were just diagnosed with breast cancer, you know, we look at family history, at personal history, and decide what you're comfortable with in terms of staying on the hormones, and also working to reduce your risk as much as possible. For instance, if someone has a personal history or family history of clot, like a deep vein clot, let's say, you know, we can look at maybe doing topical estrogens, like a cream, to reduce the risk of increasing our fibrinogen levels, which can increase risk for clot. So there are, just without going into too much detail of how to do it, there are things that we can do to help reduce whatever risks are involved. And again, it's people's comfort level too. If I have somebody who's really concerned about staying on the hormones, I say, look, let's taper off of them and see how you do, you know?
Because you don't want people to be stressed out. That's not good.
Yeah, that's worse than the benefit you're getting from the hormones, to be upset and stressed about it. I would say for the majority of the time, people come back and say, you know, I think I'll go back on those hormones. But anyway, so the other thing that was you know, really difficult for women in terms of that study and its outcomes is that because of that study, in a lot of medical school programs, they stopped even teaching the medical students, anything about hormone replacement. Nothing. I've got the figure. It's like 80. First of all, the use of hormone replacement went down by 80% after that study. And medical school and residency training in menopause management also declined, leading to a situation where many primary care providers lack core competencies in the management of menopause and related symptoms. I mean, it has impacted so many things down the road.
Somebody just said to me, I just did a Zoom. It was the end of the year, a lot of teachers, and the headmaster of this Montessori school, who's been a good friend of mine for 20-something years, she asked me to just pop in and for their last Zoom meeting of the year. Oh. And after I did it, then we were on the phone, and she goes, Leanne, I have fought getting on hormones, and she's my age, I'm 54, but she said, I just had heard all those horrible things and from my mama, and she had been on Premarin and all that. And she said, my doctor said, okay, she said that he was really sweet and patient with her, but he finally, he said, we'll do what you want to do, but I'm just telling you, it's okay. It's okay for you to use this. And I think she's using a little patch. And she says it's changed her life. But she was terrified and was worried something was going to happen to her, but that she's okay now. And that she said, I finally gave in, and that it's changed my life.
Yeah. this study ended 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, and we are still paying the price for it. We're still paying the price.
Well, and you get my estrogen cream is compounded,
Mm-hmm.
and I rub it on my wrist, twice a day, 2 clicks. What's in mine?
Which thing are you putting on your breast? Because you shouldn't be putting the estrogen on the breast.
Wrist.
Oh, I thought you said breasts.
Yeah, I'm not putting anything on my breast, girl.
I was like,
Yeah.
freaking out.
I'm not touching my breasts. No, they're a sight, and I do use a little. I put some lotion on them, but no, and that lotion does not have any of the bad stuff. No phthalates, no fragrance, But no, I put them on my wrist.
Wrist. Okay, sorry.
So what is in mine? And I know you told me, and it's probably on the thing, and I haven't even looked. What's in mine?
So what you have in yours is something called Biest. So it has 2 of our 3 estrogens that are in our body. One is estriol, which is very weak, that does not stimulate breast tissue, ovarian tissue, or uterine tissue, and it cannot convert into a stimulatory estrogen. And the other portion of it is estradiol, which is our most potent form of estrogen and helps us the most with things like hot flashes and night sweats and foggy thinking and vaginal dryness and all those things. So, but by adding the estriol, it allows us to use a smaller dose of the estradiol and help improve safety. And then you have progesterone in it, which progesterone, again, balances estrogen, because estrogen, or estradiol specifically, stimulates cell growth, and progesterone slows cell growth. And then you have testosterone, which is our hormone that helps us with spatial analytical thinking, decision-making, sense of self-confidence, self-assuredness, physical stamina, muscle mass, bone mass, sex drive. It's a long list.
And all those are so important. And isn't that sad that people are out there freaked out? Okay, so we've also talked about a million times if things naturally you can do to help balance these things. So exercise.
Yes. And we did a little podcast on that.
And is there particular exercises that you recommend people do? Like HIIT or whatever? You do a lot of, interval high intensity.
Yeah. Well, and let me just say it's important to combine or do both aerobic exercise and weight bearing. Building muscle mass is so important for women. A, because it burns a lot of calories. Muscle burns a lot of calories. And B, that really helps with our hormone levels to have more muscle than fat mass. Because, we talked last week about estrogen dominance. And I had some more questions about estrogen dominance on the Facebook page. And, fat cells make estrogen. So if you have low body muscle content and high fat content, and even if you're on hormones, you're going to lean toward estrogen dominance. And if you aren't on hormones in menopause, you're definitely going to be estrogen dominant because you're getting estrogen influence and 0 progesterone. Because estrogen dominance is about an imbalance of estrogen and progesterone. We have too much estrogen compared to our progesterone. So, like you were saying, in fact, so exercise, it really important, weight bearing and aerobic. And I would say in terms of the high intensity, I'd be a little bit careful about that. It's certainly high impact. We probably want to avoid as menopausal women because we don't want to mess up our joints. And high intensity sort of depends on your adrenal function.
Yeah. And, I said that because you're a bad mama jam and you do all kinds of exercise, but I think that those kind of things cause me, if I think I've got to get up in the morning and go do some horrible burpee boot camp, running through grass, scared, I think that gets me, that causes me more stress. I don't know if that does anything to my adrenals, but after I did competed in CrossFit. I had that adrenal fatigue. And I think that I love CrossFit, but I think that it messed with my metabolic. I don't know all that. I don't know the medical part of it, but I think I do better now with walking, yoga, Pilates, body weight bearing, with my body. I want to lift again when I can. And my gym's open. You have to wear a mask, but I would like to do body pump again, and because I like lifting weights, but I don't want anybody yelling at me. I don't want to be doing something where I did all that. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But I think that causes stress, and then that gets all things out of whack and messed up.
Well, and you want to do something that you enjoy on some level. I know that I have patients who say to me, I don't like any kind of exercise, which that's fair. I mean, people feel that way, but it would be good if you find something that you don't absolutely dread, because you'll do it. First of all, you'll do it.
Yes.
And secondly, I think what I would say in terms of, if somebody asked me, well, how high intensity exercise should I do? I would say if you do a level of intensity of exercise and afterwards you feel like, I got to go home and take a nap, that's too high a level. If you exercise and you're like, man, I'm energized, let's go do whatever, let's
clean out my cabinets.
Yes. Go clean out Leanne's cabinet. So, it's, if you feel energized and reinvigorated,
and a mental peace, I'm sure,
after exercise, then you're at the right pace.
Yeah, honey, I tell you what I love. Dance. I love a jazzercise and a Zumba, and I love good music, and I love to be in a group. And that's when I'm glad when this mess will be over, because I need people. And I want to be, I think it's so fun to dance with a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. And jazzercise uses weights at the end. And, and you do abs and you do mat work too. And I love that kind of stuff. And I look forward to it, and I want to do it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like that. I like body combat, because you're just moving and, you're moving to music and whatever.
And you don't have to. Yeah, I like that one too, where you're not having to hit a big punching bag, because I'm weak. Okay. Also, food. I know you've talked it and you've beat it to death, because we've asked it several times and people ask about it all the time. But food it, affects your hormone imbalance.
Correct.
So can you tell people what's something, to try to do to help with that?
Okay. So to avoid specifically estrogen dominance, which I would say in perimenopause and menopause are the biggest things. And frankly, young women who have things like endometriosis or heavy periods, they're dealing with estrogen dominance too. Because that's a lot of estrogen feeding all those endometrial cells and getting everything riled up. So it's not just a perimenopausal, menopausal problem. Anyway, avoiding foods that are non-organic, especially meats and milk, because they inject animals pre-market, a couple weeks before market, with estrogen, because it makes them retain fat and add fat and retain fluid is a big thing, because the fluid, they're going by weight. So so you want to avoid estrogen, any meats that are or milk that have any hormones in them. And now even non-organic meats, I see hormone free. I mean, they specify hormone free. They may not be, there might be other issues, but at least they're hormone free. Again, don't heat your food in plastics in a microwave, because it leaches xenoestrogens, which act like estrogens in your body. Try not to drink out of clear water bottles, which everybody does, because when light passes through that plastic, it leaches xenoestrogens into your body. If you can have a stainless steel container where light's not going through, you're not storing it in plastic, that would be optimal. I use a Brita stainless steel water bottle that has a built-in Brita filter in the straw.
Oh.
They're not the cheapest thing in the world. I think it was like $35, but it's safer. And if you want to refill your water bottle at the gym from the whatever water source they have, at least you're filtering it through the straw.
Where did you get that?
I ordered mine. I ordered it online. I was thinking it was Bed Bath & Beyond, but I may be wrong about that. They're easy to find, but they make a plastic one too, a colored clear plastic one. So I would encourage you to get the stainless steel one.
Okay.
We've talked about this before too, is avoiding topical skincare that contains mineral oils, petroleum, any petroleum product. And a lot of stuff has mineral oil and petroleum, and because those act like estrogens in our body, and you're putting it on your skin, which is a very absorptive organ. So those things really will help with estrogen dominance. So even if you're not on hormones or you're having difficulty finding someone to manage your hormones for you, doing the things we just talked about can at least help.
Good.
And and sometimes just taking a supplement like DIM, diindolylmethyl, that helps clear extra estrogens from your body can help. DIM, DIM, 100 milligrams twice daily. So it's a plant-based supplement. Comes from cruciferous vegetables like broccoli.
If you were in my stage where, would you want me to take DIM? You've had me on DIM before.
It depends. I would, for some women, when they're dealing with low estrogen symptoms, like I understand you're doing right now.
Hot, cold. Yeah.
Sometimes it clears a little more estrogen than we want, but maybe adding a lower dose could be helpful. We might talk about that when I see you.
Yeah, like those young moms that are up at the pool, they might need some DIM.
Yeah.
They've still got some estrogen. They're still producing, and they're still having to yell little kids. Their adrenal fatigue's probably, at a lot.
They don't have that yet. Their thyroid's good.
Yeah, they've still got hair. Okay. All right, my darling. Is there anything else you need to touch on?
I think on that subject, I think that should be it. I do want to tell our listeners, I've promised to put a list of supplements on our website, which I will work on today. I've been a little busy.
Well, you're busy tending to people.
Pretty busy. So, and I apologize for that. I shouldn't use that excuse, but that's what it is. So,
well, I've had to apologize several times during the COVID that I have not posted a bundt cake recipe and a blueberry salad, and I'm gonna get that up. But I don't like to type, but I'm gonna get it up. I'm gonna get it up. But things like that, it just seems like climbing a mountain. And during the COVID, I don't know. Things are overwhelming just because it's just a funky time. But maybe by the time this episode drops, we'll have more wonderful news and good thoughts and good things coming,
Yeah. Speaking of that, I did see a Facebook question yesterday when I was looking about asking us to do an update on COVID information, which maybe we can do next week, but or next time. Since that one we did, I think was back in February.
Yeah. And do you feel, numbers are good, aren't they? Do you feel good?
Once we went into phase 2 here in Knoxville, which was recently, numbers jumped.
That's positive cases?
Mm-hmm.
is it hospitalizations and
They didn't have it. No hospitalizations in that jump, but over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, it went up by 28 cases, which I know for our listeners who are listening in other places, especially big metropolitan areas, they're probably like 28 cases. But I think we have a total number of cases of a little over 400. So at 28, I mean, that's almost 10% jump,
But do you feel good about treatments and like those people are not being hospitalized? We haven't had deaths. We haven't had more deaths, right?
No.
That's a positive. Is that a positive?
That's very positive.
That's positive.
Extremely positive. And like I said, with our jump, we have not had any hospitalizations of those people diagnosed at this point. Although that does tend to be a delayed statistic, because usually the hospitalization would come, in the second week of illness.
Yeah. And so our phase 2 came before Memorial Day weekend, wasn't it? Didn't they decide to do it earlier?
Yes, it was. I had to think about when Memorial was.
Yeah. So 2 weeks from then, and if we get, I know I've lost track of it. So in the next week or two,
lost me, sister.
in the next week or two, will that be a deciding? We'll know.
We'll see if there's if the hospitalizations jumped, but also in our area, and I hope this is true in our listeners' respective areas, our health department is doing testing every day, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you don't even need an appointment. You may have to wait a little bit, but you can get free testing, COVID testing, and you don't have to have symptoms or exposure. You can just go get tested. So that's improved our testing numbers. So hopefully your health department is doing the same or something similar.
And I still, help my little mom and daddy, and they're stir crazy and they want to go somewhere. And I have to say, y'all can't. I'm so sorry, but that for them, they are 77 and almost 80. And then also people who have underlying, they have to, I hate it, but they have to really watch it, and stay safe.
And I think based on my patient population, those people are remaining vigilant. The people who have immune compromise or are in the, their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah. I feel bad that I know my mama wants to go to Dollar General so bad. They're in a little bitty farming community, and the only thing we used to own the grocery store, and and then we opened another business, and then that I was raised in, and then they of course retired, and so there's not a grocery store there anymore. And so the Dollar General came in, and let me tell you, that Dollar General is hopping, and there's a red box in front of it, and everybody get their movies there. Everybody go in and get some Sara Lee. Well, my mama, who gets a coupon, and she's on fire. And I'm like, Mama, you can't go in the Dollar General. And I think there's been one case in Adams, Tennessee, and it was months ago. I mean, it was a couple months ago. But anyway, I said, you just can't do it. And it breaks my heart for her, because I know she wants to be with people.
Does Dollar General have early morning hours for older people, for senior citizens? Because
I don't know if they do or not. And if they're in Adams, I don't know if they're following that, but I don't know. It's in all these little towns, there will be a Dollar General or a Family Dollar, and people rely on that to go and get little items. Of course, we bring them their groceries, and they're big groceries, but she just used to love going down there, and I just hate it for her. Like, she would always, after Christmas, go and buy up all the Christmas bags. They'd be like, I don't even know, 50 cents a bag. And then she'd give all of us, she'd go, look at these Christmas bags I got. Y'all can, she'd give me some, my sister some. And, and I'd think, oh, I got these Christmas bags from Dollar General. And then Christmas roll around, I'd be like, woo, I've got bags, because Mama got me. Yeah, I don't have to go and buy all these bags. So So she just liked to go down there and do all that, and I just hate it for her. And, you know, and their little friends feel scared, and they can't. They used to come and see them, and now they're not getting out. You know, it's just sad.
Well,
It's sad.
can they do a driveway visit?
Well, some people have, and I have. When I'm there, you know, I don't know why, but everybody feels better about getting in the driveway. But we do. We roll Mama out in her wheelchair, and then, you know, people drive up in the driveway. And yeah, and they're in their car. They're 6 feet away. I mean, I think that's good.
That's fine.
And then you get to see people, and, you know,
You're outside. Being outside alone is a big risk reducer.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I try to encourage that, but
Goody.
yeah. But anyway, I just think it's sad, and I pray that they, you know, things get better where they can, because, you know, people are isolated, and that's not good.
Mm-mm.
That's not
Mm-hmm.
good. You know, I need people. I need people.
People need people.
Are the luckiest people.
They are.
I was not going to sing it, honey, because I can't.
So, Leanne, I have some reviews from listeners.
Okay, my darling.
You want to hear some?
Yeah, I was trying to pull them up too, but you know
Can
what?
you?
I just won't. Let you do it.
Honey, well, do you want to give that
No,
a try?
I don't. I think it goes in front of my face. I don't know if it does for us. Go ahead, Karen. What are they saying?
From Hot Maniac, we have laughed so hard I peed a little.
Oh, we love it when somebody pees. Yay.
I adore this. I adore this podcast. I was in a crabby mood this morning, and after I listened, laughed, and peed a little, I was in a much better mood. Thanks so much. Keep up the good work.
Oh,
Yay.
thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, what else do I have? From Renee, helpful and entertaining. Loved the information. I'll be able to use a lot of it. And I'm particularly excited about my patchmd.com. This all just reinforces my belief in my integrative health approach to my own health and well-being. Nice.
Yay.
Yay.
I love Patch MD.
I know. We love some integrative health. Why can't I close this? Another one. From Loud Lady. You two have changed my life. A friend invited me to see Leanne perform in Orlando. Yay. I added the yay. In February, and I had never heard of her. Since then, I have been listening to your podcast, and you have changed everything. I had a hysterectomy in 2014 at age 40. I have been through hell and back. You know that, Leanne, right?
Oh, Renee.
Renee. This
God
is
love.
Loud Lady.
Oh, this is Loud Lady. That's right. Sorry, brain fog. Loud Lady, which Loud Lady sounds fun if she's a loud lady. You know, I like loud. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Big panties, Loud Lady.
Yep.
I made an appointment with a doctor in Orlando to help me with bioidenticals. My old-fashioned doctor had me on Premarin, and I thought that was what I was supposed to take since my mama took it. I have all those symptoms plus an extra 80 pounds. I am hoping I can get some help. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, Loud Lady, girl, come back and see me. And I hope that can help her. And I'm so glad she found somebody who can compound and do in Orlando.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. There are quite a few wellness practices in Florida.
In Florida.
So, well, thanks to you doing your performing in Florida, that you saved a menopausal woman.
Oh, well, I'm so
Yay.
thankful.
This is from Nanny Girl 67. Nanny Girl. A godsend. Discovering this podcast has changed my whole life for the better. Realizing all of my symptoms of the quote unquote the Perry has prompted me.
Perry.
Our buddy Perry.
Perry Mason. Perry, remember that show?
Yes,
Perry.
I do indeed. The Perry has prompted me to begin my search for a provider who can help me with my quote hormones from Hades. End quote.
I love the word Hades.
I know it's a good word.
That's a good word.
We don't use that word enough.
I know my people use it. Mhm. We do. Hades instead of hell. Hell is a cuss word.
I need to do that. That'd be a good thing for me. Thank you, Karen and Leanne, for giving us the knowledge weapons to survive this battle. God bless Melissa in Alabama.
Oh, Melissa in Alabama.
Melissa in Alabama.
Oh, Melissa, thank you, my darling. I hope it all works out for you. It is a battle. It is a battle. And people don't have the weapons to fight this battle.
But women are good warriors. We can do it.
Yeah.
Just to have
I'm glad people are finding people to help them.
Yeah. Just have to have a team and some tools, and it'll get better.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. Well, thank you for those reviews. Keep them coming. We love to hear.
We love words of affirmation.
Yes, we do. Yeah, that's right. That's Leanne's love language.
It is my love language.
So keep it coming, and also if you have questions or concerns, let us know. And I'm doing my best to keep up with the Facebook stuff. I'm sorry if I sometimes I answer people. It's been a month or 3 weeks, but I do my best. So.
Yeah, well, you're busy doing and doctoring people, and you go about what? How many hours a week?
Well, yesterday I left here home at 6:30 and I got home at 8 p.m.
Oh, my darling.
That's pretty typical.
So today is your day off. What are you going to exercise today? Are you going to go swim in the pool? What are you going to do?
Probably won't go swim, but I'm going to go I'll probably exercise, but I have my first haircut since February today.
Oh, praise God, honey. You're going to feel like a new person.
Yes, I won't look like Cher anymore. Although Cher looks a whole heck of a lot better than I do, but my hair sort of looking like Cher. It's getting long.
So you were going to do a whole new color.
Yeah, well, we're going to assess that today.
Okay.
I'll update you.
Okay. I want to know. Okay. Because I was looking forward to that, and then the COVID hit.
No.
Okay. All righty. Well, I guess that does it for today.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. It's good to talk to you again and to talk to all our listeners. We thank them for their questions and for the reviews. We want to thank Forrest for our production work and keeping us straightened out, and for our music that he composed. And we want to thank Stephen Brown for the artwork for our podcast. And we're hoping you are all enjoying the episodes we did with Stephen. And he's a pretty fun guy.
I know. We may post those videos so you can see Stephen.
Yes, because you need to see him because he is adorable. Is he not?
He's adorable.
Adorable.
Very sweet. And he carries around a chicken in a bag. Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk next time.
Next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.